All right, so towards the middle of page 4, we're going to start a discussion on unpaid balance. Okay, and I've kind of mentioned this phrase to you in an earlier video, but basically what unpaid balance is, this is the amount still owed toward the purchase price. Okay. All right, so in example 2, okay, we're going back to the washing machine example, okay? After making 2 payments on your washing machine, you get a raise at work and are able to completely pay off the outstanding debt. What amount will you pay? Okay, all right, this first bullet point there says, use the amortization schedule to answer this question. Okay, so remember what the question said, okay? You've made 2 payments on your washing machine already, okay? You get your raise at work, and then you're able to completely pay off your debt. How much do you pay? Okay, let's go back to the amortization schedule, okay? So here's the amortization schedule, okay? All right, so here is the answer. Look in your row, okay, here's the row for payment number 2. So basically, here's payment number 2, the $112.86, okay? We calculated the interest, okay? There was the interest paid portion of the payment, the non-interest part, okay? So what this number right here tells us is that after the second payment, you still owed $405.84 against the purchase price of $584, okay? So that is going to be the answer, okay? You would still owe after the second payment, okay? You would owe $405.84, okay? So you might be wondering, okay, why in the world do I not do this? Why in the world did I not look at the question like this? Well, okay, my quarterly payment is $112.86, and I'm supposed to make 6 of those to pay off the washing machine. So since I've already made 2 payments, there's 4 left. So why didn't we just go $112.86 times 4, okay, to come up with, let's see, 112.86 times 4, okay? So $451.44, okay? Notice there's a difference there between these two approaches, okay? Why is this incorrect? This is incorrect, okay? Look at your amortization schedule, okay? So if you were able to pay off the washing machine after the second payment, you should do that. Why? Because you wouldn't have to pay any future interest, okay? If you were able to pay it off, okay, you wouldn't have to take any future interest that would accumulate. You wouldn't have to take that into account. So you're going to end up owing this lesser amount, okay, because you no longer, if you're able to pay it off, you're simply paying how much you still owe on the purchase price. You wouldn't have to pay any future interest that would have been earned, okay? So that's why you have to calculate it in this fashion, okay? In this over here, where you're just taking each quarterly payment, or the amount of the quarterly payment, and multiplying by how many payments are left, that is incorrect, because in doing it that way, you would still be paying interest. If you pay it off, you wouldn't have to pay interest anymore, okay? All right, so the thing is, okay, you saw how tedious it was to build an amortization schedule, okay? So if you're trying to figure out your unpaid balance, if you want to pay something off early, okay, and you're trying to figure out what you would owe, okay, it would be really, really tedious to have to build an amortization schedule to figure that out, okay? So luckily, you can do it with a formula, okay? So let's talk about how we would have come up with this $405.84 as being the amount still owed, without using our amortization schedule, okay? All right, so if we look at this next bullet point, okay, here it is, okay? It says the unpaid balance of a loan within remaining payments is the present value of that annuity and can be computed by using the present value of an annuity formula, okay? You're going to use the periodic payment that you've been making for P, okay? The big thing to know is you are going to use remaining time on the loan, okay? So right here, I'm going to highlight this. This is very important. This is how you compute unpaid balance, okay? And again, unpaid balance means how much do you still owe on the purchase price after a certain number of payments, okay? So to calculate that, you're going to use your present value of an annuity formula, okay? You're going to use remaining time on the loan. Very, very important here. You have to use remaining time, okay? It is, you do not take your regular payment amount and multiply by the number of payments left. Do not do that. I'll even write that here. Do not take the amount of each regular payment and multiply by the number of remaining payments. That's wrong because it's still taking interest into account. Okay. All right. So we're going to come up with this $405.84 number by applying a formula. Okay. All right. So we would use the present value of an annuity formula. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. Okay. All right. So we are going to do what this says. Okay. You are going to actually be solving for the present value here. Okay, so actually I am going to write that down here. So this is another bullet point I'm going to add here. So solve for PV. Okay, that's going to be how much you still owe. Okay, why? Because all these payments you would have made in the future, okay, they would form an annuity. And if you were paying it off right now, I want to know how much I still owe right now. What is the present value of the amount I still owe? Okay. All right. So unpaid balance. You're going to use your present value of an annuity formula. You're going to solve for PV. Okay. And then you're going to plug into this. Okay. So what would we plug in? Well, for P, you're going to use the amount of each regular payment. Okay. For our washing machine, our quarterly payment was $112.86. Okay. All right. Then we're going to plug in our interest rate. That was 0.176. Okay. ILM was 4. Okay. And then hold on, I'm going to come back to time. I'm plugging everything else in right now. Okay. Time, that's the big thing here. When you're doing an unpaid balance problem, you have to do remaining time, and time has to be in years. Okay. So for your washing machine, okay, your washing machine, okay, remember, the original time you were supposed to pay this off in 1.5 years. Okay. You made 2 payments. Okay. So there were 6 total payments to start with. Okay. You were supposed to make 6 payments. Okay. If you paid it out, according to schedule. Okay. You made 2 payments before you decided, hey, I can pay this thing off. Okay. So there would have been 4 payments left. Okay. How much time would that have taken? Okay. 4 payments, 4 quarterly payments, 4 quarterly payments. That's 1 year. Okay. So you had 1 year left on the loan. Okay. Remember, you made 2 payments already. Okay. That's 2 quarters or half a year. Okay. So the 1.5 years minus the half of year, you had 1 year left on the loan. Okay. So 1 year remaining on the loan. Okay. So time would be here, 1 here. Okay. And I'm going to even circle that and say this is time remaining on the loan, which is 1 year here. Okay. All right. All we have to do is put this into the calculator. Okay. And we should get that same figure, $405.84. Okay. Again, when we put this in, we're going to start inside the brackets in the numerator. Okay. And then we will come back, divide by the denominator, and then multiply everything by our payment P. Okay, so let's go to the calculator. All right, let's start inside the brackets. Okay, so I'm going to clear this out. All right, so inside the brackets in the numerator, we're going to have 1 minus, open parentheses, 1 plus 0.176 divided by 4, close parentheses, raised to the power. The power has to be negative 4 times 1. And this is going to give me the numerator. Okay, we're going to take all of those digits and divide by r over m. R over m needs to be in parentheses. Okay, this gives us the quantity in brackets. Okay, and then we need to multiply that by that quarterly payment. Okay, here you go. Okay, and this is going to be a dollars and cents amount because it's the amount we still owe. So you need to round this to the nearest cent. Okay, so let's jot this down. Okay, so the present value, that's what you still owe, okay? You get 405.83772717 out of the calculator. You've got 83 cents. There's a 7 that comes after, so you need to bump that up to $405.84, okay? That's what you would pay to settle your debt, okay? So this eliminates paying future interest. Okay, that is exactly why you cannot take the quarterly payment and multiply by the number of payments remaining, because your quarterly payment already has taken interest into account. Okay, all right, that perfectly matched what we read off the amortization schedule. Okay, so again, this is very important. Okay, you will see these unpaid balances, okay, in this section. Okay, we're going to do more examples of these. Okay, so unpaid balance, if you're trying to figure out how much you still owe towards the purchase price if you want to pay something off early. Okay, the key to solving such a problem is to use the present value of an annuity formula. You're going to solve for PV. You're going to use the periodic payment for your p-value. The big thing is to use remaining time on the loan.